Hello and welcome to this Question Entertainment Extra, Why We Do Not Need to Fear Hobbit Casting. Since Peter Jackson has announced that The Hobbit Part 1 will actually come out in December of 2012, there's been a few different reactions. The producers of Harry Potter and Twilight reacted with, "Huh, one book, two movies, what a great idea." Other than that, there's been a lot of talk about the cast, and people have been, at least online, very discouraged about the fact that, like, Orlando Bloom is going to be in it, thus Legolas is going to be back, even though it's before, and it's before we met Legolas. And Galadriel is supposed to be in it, and so is Frodo. Frodo is the one that people aren't really that bothered about because Frodo was Bilbo's nephew even then, and so it's logical that he would have been around. Fine, they wrote him in. But there's been a lot of talk about being upset about, like, what are you doing writing in Legolas and Galadriel and stuff like that. Well, I'm a bit of an obsessive fan with the whole Lord of the Rings thing. Frodo. I didn't even plan that, he's just there. Okay. Here's the deal. I've been reading articles about what they're going to do with this story since they started talking about making the movie, and most of the articles, of course, were about the legal battles that were preventing the movie from happening, but they often had little things about what the story was going to be. And here's what the story is going to be. It's going to be The Hobbit. But if you've read the book, you notice that Gandalf keeps showing up and disappearing. And every time he disappears, he's gone off on some other adventure. He was taking care of something else. And then he comes back and he's like, yeah, hey, let's go do this. Oh, it's just defeating the necromancer. You know, but he said it more Gandalf-ish. Okay. So, he's having these other adventures. According to what was going on, at least the last round, they're going to add those adventures into the movie. So, Gandalf will go off, and then we'll get, like, this series of two sets of action going on, two, like, converging storylines, like in Lord of the Rings. And they're going to show what Gandalf was doing, and they are coming up with that. Therefore, Gandalf could have known Legolas beforehand, and he had dealings with those elves, and he was doing stuff like Legolas obviously knew who he was when the last movie started, so it's a little more logical that he's going to be in the film. As far as Galadriel, I'm pretty sure, really, the movie is sort of a prequel because the story takes place before Lord of the Rings, but it's going to be weirdly, like, after, like, they're telling the story of what happened with the Hobbit, and they're going to have Galadriel be the narrator, just like Lord of the Rings, so that there's this, like, continuity between the two films. So with that, with those little story spoilers, whatever, that they let go early on, if they're still doing that, then really I think it's going to work, and I don't think we need to worry about, oh no, who are they casting? I think the odd thing about their casting is that we haven't heard anything about Aragorn being casted. Because we know very well that Gandalf and Aragorn did stuff together all the time. They were really good friends, so it makes sense that the two of them would be involved, and it won't surprise me if for some reason that's been, like, kept out of things, that later on we find out he's in the movie. So, in conclusion, Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh, they did these movies, Lord of the Rings. They were phenomenal. They were literally some of the best films ever made. I really am not expecting anything less from The Hobbit. Sure, he did King Kong after that, but the problem with King Kong was not that Peter Jackson isn't any good at what he does. The problem with King Kong, like, it had its moments. The problem was, he tried to make King Kong Lord of the Rings, and where Lord of the Rings, like, what, the audiobooks take like 14 hours each? So him doing the movies in 9 hours, he had to, like, compact everything into a small package. King Kong was like an hour and 15 minutes, and he expanded it to 3. It just wasn't a good idea. I really think if he went through and made that movie like an hour and a half, it would have been a great movie. So, I think Peter Jackson's track record shows that he knows what to do in Middle-earth. It's going to work out fine. With those 2 alternate story ideas, the Galadriel narrating and Gandalf's adventures, I don't think the casting is anything to worry about. And really, I can't wait to see the movie. Let me know what you're thinking about The Hobbit and the casting and the rumors, and check us out on our blog and on Facebook. Thank you.